Philadelphia Eagles fans, I don't know about you, but it feels like the secondary conversation just shifted overnight with the latest report regarding Grant Delpit. The news confirms that Delpit is now being discussed in connection to the Philadelphia Eagles as a potential target to bolster our defensive backfield. This move is fascinating because it signals the front office is clearly prioritizing aggressive veteran depth to secure our championship window. There are really two things to cover here: the mechanics of how this deal could materialize and what it means for our roster hierarchy moving forward. Let's dive in. Hit the like button, subscribe, and drop your name and city in the comments below. Let's get into it. Grant Delpit is the primary subject of our discussion today following a recent report by Justin Grasso regarding the veteran safety. While Delpit has built a reputation through his hard-hitting play in Cleveland, his potential connection to the Philadelphia Eagles has sparked significant curiosity across the league. Since his arrival in the NFL, Delpit has been a defensive staple, known for his relentless motor and ability to react to plays with precision. As Philadelphia Eagles fans, we remember his intensity whenever our team has faced the Browns, and his professional journey has earned him respect for his durability and tactical awareness. According to the reporting by Justin Grasso on July 23, 2026, the discussion surrounding Delpit is centered on his current trajectory and market standing. The report provides a clear look at his status, focusing on the broader context of league-wide defensive shifts rather than a specific transaction announcement. This news hit our fan base with a mix of cautious optimism and intense scrutiny, as we always weigh how a veteran talent might fit into Nick Sirianni's defensive vision under the ownership of Jeffrey Lurie. We are protective of our secondary, and any conversation involving a player of his caliber invites a healthy debate about our roster depth and financial flexibility. The part fans are not ready for is the reality of how this specific evaluation might influence our defensive coordinator's game plan for the upcoming season. Does this interest reflect a genuine desire to bolster our backfield, or is it merely an attempt to leverage league trends to distract from other internal negotiations? We have to look at the numbers behind his recent performances to understand if this shift is truly a strategic upgrade for our organization or just another name circulating during the midsummer lull before training camp intensifies our focus. The most surprising shift in our secondary strategy is the recent focus on defensive versatility, as confirmed by Justin Grasso. We are seeing a calculated move toward players who possess the specific skill sets required to stifle modern passing attacks in this division. This pivot stems from the front office identifying a clear need to match the depth found in what the Cleveland Browns are currently building on their roster. Think about it this way: we have observed a pattern over the last 3 seasons where the team prioritizes high IQ defensive backs who can navigate complex schemes without needing constant over-the-top safety help. The history of this franchise shows that whenever we lean into tactical flexibility rather than raw physical traits alone, we tend to stay competitive deep into January. Jeffrey Lurie and Nick Sirianni are surely operating with a philosophy that emphasizes consistency over splashy, expensive acquisitions that offer little long-term security. They are evaluating the defensive landscape to ensure our coverage remains ironclad during those critical cold weather games that define a championship run. While the league continues to evolve toward higher scoring outputs, our leadership is clearly betting on a disciplined, reliable secondary to keep us in the hunt for the top seed. Every personnel decision made by the front office behind closed doors right now suggests a rigid adherence to this specific blueprint for success. By avoiding the common trap of overpaying for aging veterans, the staff is positioning our defensive core to remain both affordable and hungry for the remainder of the 2026 season. We know that if our defensive backs can hold their assignments while the pass rush creates pressure, our path to success becomes much clearer against the toughest opponents on our schedule. It is a bold, refined approach that demands patience from us as we wait for these pieces to mesh properly on the field. And that changes everything regarding our defensive trajectory as we look toward the fall. While the news involving Grant Delpit seems like a distant event from Cleveland, it serves as a stark reminder of the volatility in the secondary market that Jeffrey Lurie and our front office must navigate this season. This situation matters right now because it dictates how Nick Sirianni will finalize the back end of our depth chart before the opener. We are seeing a shift where depth is becoming the most valuable commodity for championship contention. and any movement across the league influences the veteran availability we rely on for late-season insurance. With the roster currently hovering near the cap limit, every veteran acquisition must be calculated to preserve flexibility for mid-season adjustments. This development ripples directly into our upcoming schedule, particularly when we face high-octane passing attacks in the NFC East. If we are not shoring up our defensive communication now, we risk being exposed in those critical late October windows where the margin for error effectively vanishes. Looking at our standing, the Giants under John Harbaugh are clearly retooling, and the Commanders are building an offensive identity under David Blau that will test our secondary depth every single snap. Maintaining a high-level rotation is the only way to ensure we remain the team to beat in our division. If we fail to secure the right talent for these specific roles, our playoff path becomes significantly more difficult against the top-tier competition waiting in the postseason. As Philadelphia Eagles fans, we know that winning is never guaranteed, but by staying ahead of these shifts in league personnel, we give our team the best possible foundation to secure another deep run. We must remain vigilant as our leadership makes these difficult roster decisions in the coming weeks to keep our championship window wide open. Adding a veteran defensive back like Grant Delpit to our roster would provide the Philadelphia Eagles with immediate stability in a secondary that needs consistent production. The primary argument for this move is the sheer versatility he offers. He can play close to the line of scrimmage or drop back into coverage with equal comfort, which allows our defensive staff to disguise their intentions far more effectively. What makes this even bigger is his history of making plays on the ball during high-pressure moments, which is exactly the kind of grit our locker room thrives upon. However, the downside is equally clear. We must consider his physical track record and whether his salary demands might prevent us from addressing depth concerns across the offensive line. Critics around the league have pointed out that while he is talented, his arrival could force younger guys on our roster to take a backseat, potentially stifling their development this season. According to Justin Gratzu at Getty, the front office is evaluating several options, including Delpit or potentially looking towards secondary depth via trade targets from the Cleveland Browns or perhaps the New Orleans Saints. I have been tracking these rumors closely, and to be perfectly honest, I find the chatter linking us to the New Orleans Saints to be a bit overblown given their current cap situation. The way I see it, bringing in a player with his specific skill set is a gamble, but it is one that could pay dividends if he remains healthy through the playoffs. I am not entirely sold that we need to sacrifice future draft capital for a short-term fix, but if the price is right, it might be the missing piece to get us over the hump. We have to be smart, deliberate, and focused on building a championship-caliber group. When you synthesize these developments with the broader organizational strategy, it becomes clear that we are witnessing a purposeful shift in how this franchise builds its roster for the coming years. By prioritizing long-term stability under Jeffrey Lurie and Nick Sirianni, the front office is signaling that they are prioritizing a sustainable path to success over quick fixes. And I cannot stress this enough, the focus remains entirely on maintaining the high standard of performance that we expect as Philadelphia Eagles fans. You should feel a genuine sense of confidence heading into this season because the leadership is showing a willingness to adapt without discarding the core principles that made this organization a consistent contender in the league. The vision is defined, the expectations are set, and there is a clear sense of purpose radiating from the front office that should give every supporter peace of mind. We have seen how quickly things can change in this league when teams lose their identity, but by sticking to a proven framework, we are positioning ourselves to weather any storm that comes our way during the upcoming schedule. This level of transparency and planning provides a foundation that makes the team resilient and ready to compete against the toughest opponents on our slate. Looking at the current landscape of the NFL, do you believe our roster depth is sufficient to carry us through a deep playoff run this season? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Fly, Eagles, fly. I'll see you in the next one. Before we sign off, let's hear your take on the latest draft picks. Do you believe these rookies can make an immediate impact on the field? Leave your boldest predictions in the comments section below and stay tuned for more content.